So I want to talk about God and I guess spirituality. It's quite a heavy topic, but basically within life, my life story, I've experienced things that I can't explain. And a lot of people who are empiricists or think they are empiricists, they reject God. They say, I see no God, I don't see any man in the sky, blah, 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 blah. But it's like people have these experiences all the time. There's so much, you can, it's one thing to debate on the matter of which God is it, how does the religion really work, what's the true version of Christianity or whatever. But to deny that to say there's nothing spiritual at all, it's just foolhardy. There's way too many weird things that can't be explained. And the desire to explain away these things, it's not empiricism, it's reductionism. It's that everything always boils down to atoms, and atoms ultimately are lifeless in a sense. Life is just comprised of death. There's no soul, there's no spirit to something. Life is just like a machine, a computer. It's just a biological machine. And there's no evidence for this. And the more you actually read about physics and that advanced stuff in physics, not this Newtonian or like sophist type philosophy. I mean, like, that's a tool, but I mean the actual like quantum mechanics. There's too many weird things. Obviously, consciousness has some sort of relation to the world on a more fundamental level, and obviously if everyone always believed, this is like, people talk about Occam's razor, and I think people often use it in the weirdest way possible, where they try to make everything simple. It's not like everything is always simple. Oftentimes life is complex, but think about it like this, you know, what was I gonna say? It's not a. It's strange to think that every single society in the world until our Western post-Christian civilization, every one of them believed in something spiritual, something supernatural. They all reverenced it. They all thought it was like the most important thing was what happens after we die and what we're supposed to do here on Earth and things like that. And they all disagreed. Whatever they disagreed, but all of them agreed that there was something. There was spirits, and literally people to think that like our Western modern quote unquote scientific, that is like so blatantly obvious, or that it like anything that happens that's strange that can just be explained away by that. It's like it requires more of a jump in, like there's these stories of like seeing all kinds of creatures and things, and then all the time, every single time, we get the same response. It was an owl, and it almost becomes like a parody or something. It was an owl. Owls are big and they have big weird eyes and they move weirdly. So you saw an owl. Even if you shot it, then there was a metallic noise from shooting it, and it like survived the shot, and there was millions of, I mean, like, there's just no like the actual details of the case don't matter to these people. They think, oh, that can be misinterpreted. Everything is false perception all the time. Nobody ever sees what they really see. Your brain is just making jumps to conclusions to survive, blah blah blah. It's you just know what these skeptics are gonna say every single time, and it's not very good. It's not very persuasive to me. And there's this weird. You'd think like science or the art of science, it would be something about trying to like uncover knowledge and discover more about how things work. But often now, like, especially the last, like, it just seems like it's just like this we already know that. It seems a lot like that. We already know that. There's no mystery left to it. There's no like, or if there's anything left to know, it's this boring stuff. Of course, it all reduces to nihilism. Nothing of this has any meaning really, and you can be, and it's just like, oh well, that's convenient because you can just be as hedonistic as you want because you're just a ape. You're just a machine that's made up of green vegetables or whatever. So it's just I don't see how, if you have this worldview and you think it's true, even just from a pragmatic point of view, why would you think that? Why would you believe that? It doesn't, like, it's shown to correlate to like depression and and then you say, well, I'm standing up for the what kind of, why do you give a shit about standing up for the truth? You don't believe anything has any meaning. You don't believe that there's any like, if you're an atheist, you don't believe that like the truth, like not telling lies, like these things matter. Why do they matter? There's no transcendent. There's no nothing of none of this matters. So you can just be as much of a fucking asshole as you want, and there's no reason to care. So if you and then but these people will be so moralistic, and they will be moralistic from a viewpoint which only like a Christian could ever have, like that no one else in history would have had. Like, oh, you killed these people or you did that. Like, it's like, bro, fucking look in history. No one gives a shit. Like, this stuff happens all the time. Only like a Christian would even take any sort of like guilt from you putting this on them, or So it's very strange. It's like the atheism thing. It's like a worldview that entirely relies on Christianity, and all it can do is parasitically kind of criticize it. It has no aesthetics or pointing to anything itself. It's like, if you think about, for example, like it's like, just think about its aesthetic. It's like the atheism logo. It's just like white text and black background. That's it, and it says logic, logic. Well, I don't think it's logical. I don't think it's logical to always assume everyone is crazy or lying about everything, and that every time there's something that cannot be explained, it can be explained. No, sometimes it can't fucking be explained. Sometimes it's too fucking weird. It has too many multiple eyewitnesses and all kinds of stuff. So it's just like, they're credible people, serious people, people who know they will be ridiculed for talking about it because of the kind of culture we live in. But they say it anyway, and it's like actually cost them social capital. But yeah. Sorry, I wasn't actually gonna talk about atheism or I feel strongly about it because I kind of was an atheist, or I was an anti-theist, more like it, in that I hated God specifically, and I felt that that if there was a God, I wish there wasn't, in a sense, and I said, if there was a God, he must be evil, because the world is evil and there's all this evil stuff. And ironically, I stopped thinking like that when I found out that the world was more evil than I thought it was. When I found out that this sort of democratic, liberal political system we have doesn't ensure any sort of rights for people, and that the people in power do all kinds of horrible things, that's when I realized that God exists, because it's the only reaction you can have to like that amount of evil is that's so evil that it's like supernatural, and the only way there can be something that evil is if there's something so much more good in the other direction. And that's how I realized God existed. So, yeah.